Hello, Mark. Well, I guess we should tell our listeners we just had a false start.
Well, yes, unfortunately it's the second time, but suddenly it stopped recording on us. So, when you start these things and you need to keep going, and I suddenly felt this sinking feeling when I looked and thought, the little red light's gone out. What do I do now? So anyway, we're back here for a lovely sunny day with a great guest, and we've had a good little conversation, but we're going to have to restart that conversation.
Well, it takes us back to our very first episode, doesn't it? When we spent half an hour with Bryony Darcy down in Ocean Grove, the architect, and at the end of it, there was nothing on the recording.
Yep, because I forgot to push record, but I didn't.
So we did again.
That's not my mistake today. But anyway.
Well, who are we with today, Mark?
So today we've got the lovely June O'Brien from Epic Taste Experiences, and June and I met each other when I was running the Ocean Grove Chalet, and June's passion for Geelong, the Bellarine, for tourism, for people, comes through loud and strong from the moment I first met her. So I'm really pleased that June's here, so welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
And sorry to put you through this again, but June, where did you go to school, primary school? Because you've got a really interesting background. So.
Yes, it is a very multicultural background. So I went to, I was born in a little place called Woovaloo, which is in the Bismarck Archipelago, West Pacific in New Guinea. And from there I went to school in a little town called Wewak, which is, a lot of people would associate that near the Sepik River. And then came down to Brisbane, sort of did my primary school in Brisbane, and finished my senior years in Charters Towers, which is inland from Townsville. So, yeah, from those days. So from Townsville, from Charters Towers, I managed to get in the industry for travel and tourism.
So that was your first job?
First job.
Yep.
Where I had always, one of my goals was to always work for an airline. That was one of my big, hairy, audacious goals. Yep. Is like, I want to work for an airline. I want to travel. So I was very lucky to, finish. When I was finishing senior, I actually was working in a travel agency, and then from there to Port Douglas, and that's it. I haven't looked back.
And what were you doing in Port Douglas?
So in Port Douglas, I was working for in travel there. I didn't know where Port Douglas was, coming from Charters Towers. So I applied for a job and got in. I was like, where's that? And it was about 45 minutes from Cairns North, and I had no idea. So that's when, but that's what I love, is just
experience.
Go. Yeah.
Mark, we'll just take a break here or take a pause, and I'll read you something off June's website, which says, June, your host and your tour director. It says, I hail from a diverse cultural melting pot, New Guinean, Danish, Chinese and Melanesian. And like my adventurous ancestors, I like to live life to the full. And after it goes on to talk about Brisbane, the Whitsundays, and then having spent some time in the world's great wine regions, living in San Francisco, Sydney, Canberra and Melbourne. And now here I am in Geelong. How did all that happen?
360, I know.
So tell us about the melting pot. How does that...
So my heritage, my dad's part Chinese. So on my dad's side is, his dad is full-blood Cantonese, and his mum's from New Guinea, or as I said, we say, well, people know it as Papua New Guinea, but it's just New Guinea to me when you grow up. And then on my mum's side is my granddad on my mum's side is full-blood Danish from a little town, place in Denmark called Laos. And my mum's mum is Melanesian, so very mixed islanders. And it's interesting, so when I was sort of looking back at my heritage and so my mum used to actually, after the war, used to take the Japanese tourists around in New Guinea because she's very talented and very able to speak multiple languages. On my dad's side, my granddad Chinese dad. He was a really good baker, and then during the war, the Australians found out he was a great baker and actually got him to cook bread for them.
Very
cool. That was a bit like my dad used to say that the bloody Yanks, because what actually used to happen, because he looked so Chinese or Japanese, Asian, they used to pull him up all the time when he was trying to get home, and then they used to go, "Where you going, boy?" And my dad goes, "I'm going home," and because he was working for a plantation at this, they used to drag him all the way back to the plantation to verify that he worked there and he was a mechanic, and his dad was the baker for the Australian Army. And then once that was verified, they go, "On your way." So he'd start his journey again until another army truck would come, pick him up. "Where you going, boy?" So anyway, so it's been really interesting with all
right,
the history.
June, let's bring it back to Geelong. Right?
Geelong.
Yeah, describe your business. Tell us what your business is.
So I like to say that I'm in the business of creating memories through award-winning wines, artisan produce. I'm very passionate about the food and the different artisan producers in this area. And, just everything about Geelong is amazing. I love the story. I love the history that we have here. So we came to Geelong via Melbourne, and it was an impulse purchase, my husband calls it. It's there's so much to do here. So for me, it was I actually took about 8 years where I was working actually in the sporting industry in basketball. So tourism, I've actually now come 360. 8 years I spent in sporting industry with the first and second level of basketball.
And boy, is basketball a big sport in this region? Isn't
It's
it?
great.
With the kids, I go to kids basketball. There's not enough courts.
There isn't, and that's one of the challenges, one of the massive big challenges with basketball. One, you have to compete with football, because young kids want to play footy, especially the boys and now the girls. And then there's a lack of space. So there's futsal coming in, so there's netball that need the space as well. So it's one of the biggest, and that's across Victoria. It's not just Geelong, it is literally everywhere. Actually.
So I noticed when you pulled up outside our studio here that you're in your minibus.
Yes.
And getting back to how you operate. So if Mark and I came and joined one of your tours, just quickly walk us through what a day looks like.
So a day with Epic Taste Experience, what we've first tried to find out is what do you like? Sort of, are you after wine? Are you after, what sort of food? Make sure there's no allergies as well, because different venues around our area, that experience can really make or break. So I always like to cater to the individual. So from that, we would then cater if you want the best Shiraz secret. There's one guy who makes the most amazing Shiraz, and he's an ex-Ford engineer who only has 4 acres in the Bellarine, hidden. So you have to book a tour if you want to come and find out. From that to, okay, so I've got, for example, I've actually got quite a few corporates who are coming in the next couple of months. Mm. And so what we're offering is to take them to do a private Rocky Road chocolate making class with wine tasting. And that experience is only uniquely offered to me, and I've sort of helped along in designing that. So then we can do that, and we only keep it's an experience. So it's making sure you sit down with the producer or the winemaker, sit and it's also enjoying a really good local lunch of what we have in this this region. So there's some amazing producers in around our Greater Geelong area.
How long have you been going for?
Started in 2020.
I was going to say, because I know it's not been that long, because you had the 2 years of COVID in the middle there.
Yes.
How did you survive that?
The government were very good, actually. It was a really good time. When's a good time to start a business?
Yep.
Just start the business. So that's what I did. Just went, okay, let's do it. So I'll just go back. Friends used to say, gosh, I'd bring them down here and I'd show them, the Yarra Valley, Mornington, take them around. And they go, you should do this. You should do this as a business. And I'm like, yeah. I think having moved from Melbourne to Geelong and meeting all the different people that are in here. So I'm going to just say Runway out at Fed Mills was a game changer for me. That was when I went, So I met a young lady who was a chicken whisperer. That's in her area. And I went, wow, if she can be a chicken whisperer, I can run tours. So, and because that is my background, travel and tourism, I say 25 plus years, it's actually longer. But so I thought, yeah, why not? And I think Geelong, this area is a hidden gem. People know about Yarra Valley, people know about Mornington, but they don't know that this area actually, we have 86 was the last count of wineries. The other thing that people don't know, and I love to share, is we have like 17 plus coffee roasters between just Geelong and Torquay.
Yep.
We have the only, tea master, international tea master. She's based here in Geelong. Like, there's so many amazing...
And then there's gin and whiskey.
And breweries.
And the
breweries,
history...
They're all cropping up all over the place.
The craft breweries are amazing, but there's lots of grants, by the way, coming out for people who want to start rum and making... Rum and vodka need to be made here. But, again, the history of the gin and the whiskey, that's Corio. They were making 500,000 tonnes and sending that back to the motherland, so gin and whiskey started here in Geelong. The wineries, people don't realise that, that the Swiss planted the wineries here until we had a bit of the disease.
Yep.
But there's a family, the Idle family, who actually reintroduced that. So 2014, we've been cleared of all the disease, the phylloxera here.
Yep.
But the wineries, how awesome. People don't know that was here way before the Yarra Valley.
So how have you gone about making your connections? Because you do an experience, so you've got to connect business A, business B, and bring them together. Is that because you're really passionate about what you do? So is that been your secret to getting people together?
I think so, and my background in travel and tourism, I think. What would I like to know when I go somewhere? And, the thing is, people travel. You travel to Italy, you travel to France, you travel anywhere. You always do a local tour. And it's learning about that. I've taken people who are locals. I've actually hosted the volunteers for the information centre.
Yep.
They've grown up here. They know all the street. And I love taking, because I'm learning from them. But I take them to the place to go, didn't know this was here.
This is our best kept secrets again, Mark.
It's constant, isn't it?
We keep saying that this region's full of best kept secrets.
And of course, June's keeping them secret because you have to have a tour with June to find out.
Now, I just want to go back and reminisce for a little bit, right? Now, you mentioned the Corio distillery.
Yes.
Well, their famous brand was Corio 5-Star. And it was the whiskey in Australia. I'm going back to the 50s.
Yep.
Show my age here as a little kid. And I grew up next to a factory. My father owned a soft drink company in Geelong called Noddy Soft Drinks back in the late 50s. And every night he used to have a two little glasses of Cryo 5-star with ginger ale in it. Right? So I reckon I'm a pioneer, because what I worked out was that if I went into the factory when they're making ginger ale in the little bottles, I'd go and line up 30 bottles, get a bottle of Cryo 5-star, put a little bit in each bottle, then put them through the machine. They'd come out as a mixer. Now, I reckon that was before their time.
Absolutely. You should have.
Kept on going. and that's the beauty with this. That's another part of, when I take people on my tours, and I like only just small, because that way it's, very intimate and it's personalised. But sharing, I go, did you know, refrigeration was invented in Geelong? And people go, oh, didn't know that. Can I tell you, that's my opening line about, showcasing how wonderful Geelong is. People go, didn't know that. I know. Because people just drive through Geelong. One of the Australian Travel, she said, oh, we were just down in Geelong. And I said, oh, were you really? She goes, oh, no, we went straight through to Great Ocean Road. I'm going, look, Geelong, UNESCO City. People didn't know that. That we are amazing. And I love that, the creativity, all the designs, everything. It's an amazing place.
And look at the future, because we've got Avalon Airport now that is going to come back with a vengeance.
Oh,
and they're going to end up with new airlines. You've got the ferry from Melbourne to Geelong.
Yep.
There'll never be a fast rail. We know that. And it's but how many people would know there's a rail line from Drysdale down to Queenscliff with a great restaurant on it?
Yeah, I talk about the cute, and again, for me, I think that's my passion, is to promote this area. The Q train. So the cheese train, the only, which is just up here. Yeah, Jo Bangle, she's her story's amazing. We have the cheese train, we have the blues train, love that. And then we've got the Q train. So, uniquely to Geelong, the trains. We have, people don't know the exchange, telephone exchange. That was out of Geelong. So for me, the area, I love all of that, the history and sharing that, what makes Geelong unique. People don't know that.
So how do you promote your business?
So, just
word of
different...
Talking to people like us.
Yes. So word of mouth. And again, being in the industry, so I used to work for Qantas for 16 and a half years. I've been in the travel industry and tourism industry literally all my life. So just that little sidetrack of 8 years in sporting industry. So my connections are very big, and I do make a lot of strong personal connections. And I like talking about this area. And I suppose wherever I go, I like to immerse myself in the community. I do some mentoring with tourism, with like William Anglis. I'm working with the Gordon here, and helping kids to, fall in love with this area.
Mark and I visited the new catering school at the Gordon. That is unbelievable. And would you believe next Friday night
Davidson.
we're going there
We're
for
going
dinner?
for dinner. That's right. We are too.
Yeah.
Highly
I
recommend
couldn't
it.
believe what we saw there.
It's amazing. And that's, again, people don't know that, and we should be really supporting local. And I'm all about try by local. So hence I think I practice what I preach is for this area. If I can promote this area. The Gordon is amazing. The food, the courses. So I helped with working with the grains. So they actually brought in all these different bakers. So a couple of weeks ago, at beginning of May, and brought in all these different bakers that came and cooked here. And I did the connection with the Gordon because of their culinary kitchens. Amazing. Again, it's sharing those knowledge that we have all of these beautiful, amazing spaces that can cater for events, tourism, the whole lot. We've got, people should be using the Port Phillip ferry to commute to Melbourne. It's another way of travelling. Going to Melbourne via the sea, having a look at the coast, no stress. Like, that's beautiful. That's
cool.
a great way.
So, June, 5 years' time, where do you see yourself? Where do you see you and your business?
I think going national. So I'm always thinking and pre-planning about the future. Succession is always something that I like to teach even young crew when I'm mentoring them, is always think about the future. So again, the way I built the business name, can I take that, internationally? Yes, I'd love to do that. And again, agritourism is one of my passions. Talking about, what we have in Meredith cheese, Bulla Colac, so part of Bulla ice cream, they actually sponsor a certain basketball down in Melbourne. And I talk to the kids and I'm handing out, because I still volunteer there. I'm like, do you know where this comes from? Not the fridge. I'm like, that's just up the road. You should go to Colac. They go, oh, tell Mum, Dad. And Mum and Dad going, really? I'm going, this is local.
And I must admit, it is my favourite ice cream, Bulla ice cream.
It's local, yeah.
Well, it reminds me of the city kids who were interviewed, and they said that they thought that chocolate milk came from brown cows. There's a lot of education to be done for city kids and our agribusiness.
So, June, where do you like to holiday?
Ooh.
Do you go back? Do you go back to New Guinea? And
No, it's really rough and rugged.
No family there?
No, Port Douglas. I still go up. I'm actually going in a couple of weeks to Andara lava tubes, so I'm cooking there. So I do a bit of community stuff, especially also down at Inverloch, because my mother-in-law lives down in the Gippsland area. So as part of giving back to the community, I go back during summer and I do a cooking workshop with the community hub there.
And what do you cook?
Anything. So I like to educate them about different foods. So it's all barbecue. So I will do Vietnamese. In November we'll do Vietnamese street food. I'll introduce Mexican. So again, it's doing different foods. One of the big things, sorry, and I'm going to
No, it's great.
The Paco Fest, like that needs to be promoted. I tell people about the Paco Fest, that all the different communities that come in to Geelong, like I'm going, the best pierogies, from that are handmade by the yayas and the, nonnas or whatever. But the food in this area, because of all the workers and the migrants, like to celebrate that on a street, people go, oh, really? I said, yeah, we do that here. Love that. But sharing, people should come in for this. It's fantastic. So for me, going down to the Gippsland, if I can introduce slowly different foods, then the kids will go, oh, yeah, hey, yes, I've tried Vietnamese street food, Mexican, Turkish, goshleme. I love
goshleme.
I love Turkish food. And, very lucky to, go to Turkey and travel around there too. So
fantastic, June.
Well, Mark, what an experience. And
as I said to you when you said, we're going to chat to June, I said, this is a lady with such passion. It bubbles up.
Not only does she doesn't know who she is when she looks in the mirror in the morning, when it comes to mealtime, I'm not sure she knows what's next. It's been great hearing your story, June, and at some stage, Mark, you and I and our wives need to spend some time and get June to take us around to a couple of the secret locations.
We've got some amazing, amazing places around here.
So people listening that want to get in touch with you, website is?
Yep, www.epictasteexperiences.com. Or give us a call. We're on Instagram, Pinterest, which is a big thing that I like to use, TikTok. Love TikTok, and LinkedIn as well.
Okay, excellent. So, June, thank you for your time.
Pleasure.
And wish you all success. And I'm sure you don't need wishing success because you'll do well. So
thank you.
No, thank you, June. That's been a really enjoyable conversation.
And I just wanted to share, I love listening to you guys and I love listening to your podcast because it's all locals that you're introducing. So I go, oh, That's nice. But thank you kindly for having me.
Thank you, June.